to keep people apprised of new information coming in about water, how we can spread it around. Again, we love to talk about what a salon is and think about the history of salons, that they were originally reception rooms where people would come and mingle. A salon was held literally at beautiful couches and settees. And if you think of these like a French salon where you would come in and you'd be beautifully dressed because you care about coming with honoring the invitation to go to a salon, to hear someone who is coming to the city to bring new ideas. And that's the reverence and love. We love this idea of coming together as a salon community, ready to hear new information floating in from new places, and again, the receptivity is the excitement. The idea of being in the position in your mind of receiving ideas that you haven't heard before. And that's really what we're here to bring. And so I love the idea of a reception room in our head and a reception room to new things about water, because mostly we take water in a very for granted way. And what we're trying to do is push out the boundaries of what we know about water, what we can find out, and just be curious about water. So we have reviewed some really fun things in our previous salons and they're all on replay. So you are welcome to go back to our YouTube channel and find some of the presentations we've already made about new things to know about water, because it's kind of our job to like go find what are the new things and bring them to you. Today, we want to focus on photons and water. I hope I got that right, Everin, right? I get photons and protons mixed up. I have a little ADH going on, or I think everyone is neurodivergent because what brain looks like anybody else's, right? We're all coming in from our own angles. But protons and photons, it took me a long time to just like, okay, those are two different categories. So you may not want to trust me on the conversation on photons, because I might fall in my brain to the talking about protons all of a sudden. But I have someone here who is really, really an extraordinary historian of the study of photons. And it's our own dear Erin Vanderkratz. And I would love for her to share a little bit about her knowledge of how the discovery and the study of photons, not protons, photons came into our purview, and how it is that we know more information than we did before. So I'm not going to quite turn it over to Everin yet. Dr. Vanderkratz. I love to say her name. she's a little more modest about it, but we do have with her in our presence someone we should scrape off as much information as we can get about the history of discovering photons. And but I would love to open first our salon today with a quote that I often hang on to. And this is for our new year, our new starting, new everything new. We are in such turbulent times right now. I'm sure all of you are living through news cycles and personal stories. And first of all, we're in the dead of winter. We're just this side of the solstice. And yes, how do we help guide ourselves towards the light? So this is a quote that has mattered a lot to me, and I hope I'm setting it up for our salon today, that I'm going to also close with this quote and create a space for us, a reception room for us to be in together to think and receive this new information. So this is a quote from Simone Weil. She was a French philosopher during the 30s and 40s. She studied at the Sorbonne with all the greats, Heidegger, Simone Beauvoir, and she's a historical figure worth holding on to and loving. She was very involved in the French Resistance. She came up with this idea to airdrop nurses behind enemy lines because no matter what side you were on in the war, young men were bleeding out on the fields and their lives could have been saved if there'd just been some attention to them. So she was a worthy guide for us into going into 2026. And the quote is, attention is the most precious and rare. Attention is the most precious and rare form of generosity. And generous attention to this topic or to any topic is something we are all wealthy, deeply wealthy in our expanded attention. So I want to set the room with that quote, draw us all into the idea that we're wealthy in attention. We are wealthy. We're so rich in attention, and it is our most pure and precious form of generosity to any topic or to any person or even to ourselves. So starting there, putting our feet on that thought and that idea and that quote, now I'd love to turn to Dr. Vanderkratz and ask her to render for us a little of how she got involved in the study of photons. Everett.
Okay, well, in 2010, I started to study photons with a group that was interested in studying everything regarding frequencies, light, the body, health, water. And I worked with Roland van Wijk, who is a famous biophoton researcher. And he also worked with Fritz Albert Popp, of course. And I went to the last summer school that he was present in, and we were studying.
Wait, who was present in? The last summer school, who was present in?
Fritz Albert Popp, who was one of the main.
And who is Fritz Albert Popp?
Yeah.
We're doing it.
Yeah, he was one of the main people continuing the research on this. I mean, the first person who actually found out about this, I don't know, but Alexander Gurwitch, for example, in 1923 found that the onion root experiment is called that the onion that was dividing, doing mitosis, and the receiver onion root on that kind could communicate without any contact, and it would be stopped with normal glass, and it would continue with quartz glass, and that because quartz glass passes UV light and normal glass doesn't, they found out that that was communication with UV light. So I mean, I think it's much longer history, but Fritz Albert Popp was he had his own lab in Neuss and also at the university before that studying photon emission.
So the names you want to know, the lineage is Gurvitch, right?
Yeah.
Let's start there. And what era was that? The 1920s, or was it before?
1923. Okay. Yeah.
Right. And then his student or someone who studied his work was Fritz Albert Popp.
I don't know the direct lineage, but also Albrecht Bühler did a lot of research into this type of things. So yeah, there was and there was a whole group at that point with the summer schools around Fritz Albert Popp who kept on studying it. And Vladimir Voykov, for example, has been doing a lot of experiments. And there are, you can look at spontaneous emission and delayed luminescence. So there are different ways to look at light from the human body, and of course from people, like from hands, but also from cells and plants. So there's been a lot of work in the past.
So Vladimir's was also part of this group with the photons. I didn't realize that. He's doing it from the biological dynamism position, right?
Yeah. And we also we did it on plants, and he also studied plants, but
Awesome.
yeah, and
And
we
then,
did,
of course, Vladimir is a very close colleague of Jerry Pollock, right?
yeah,
So we're just putting people on the map for everybody so
yeah. Of
they
course,
like,
he's in
oh,
Russia, but for
we have
Vladimir,
each other's phone numbers.
for Vladimir,
Okay.
Jerry and Fritz Albert Popp were important, yeah, people in Vladimir's work. Yeah,
Okay, so now back to the summer school that Fritz Albert Popp had, that you had the honor to be at the last one, right?
yeah.
Awesome. Okay, we're in the lineage. Go. Tell us more.
No, that's just amazing to be with all these people. It's 4 or 5 days, and yeah, Vladimir, Fritz, Albert Poppet, a lot of big researchers in that field, also electromagnetic radiation, and yeah, all these people daring to think with a small group of 50 people, I guess, max. And yeah, and our team in the Netherlands was actually equipped with the equipment from Fritz Albert Pop's lab in Neuss. We got that in the Netherlands, and Yu
After he
Yang.
died, right? You guys,
No,
after,
no, already then, because he was at that moment already having brain issues. I mean, he couldn't. He had a stroke, so he couldn't do his work. So we already had the most of the equipment, and Yu Yan, who worked with him, was also working with us. So yeah, and
and
yeah,
is this the person whose book you lifted up?
yeah.
Who,
This
what
is
is,
this is,
we're
but
going to put the
also
link in the, yeah.
yeah, I'll put the link in. And also, uh, they were working with Dolph and Eric from
All
Analemma
sent.
Water, well, Water and Light. And we
Mhm.
continued 6 years on this also with, I mean, this is the real man who's spent his life on it in the Netherlands, but we continued, and he was there present as well, and his son is working on it too. Yeah. And in clinical practice, they're trying to diagnose the signal over time. Um, and yeah, we were just trying to see how it was related to health, that photon emission.
Okay, I'm going to ask the most questions. What is a photon? Help me keep photon and protons in my head away from each other. What is a photon?
Yeah, wait for a
Sorry,
particle. That's the question. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Say it again. I talked over you. What is a
No,
photon?
I'm making a joke. That's the question. It's a wave or a particle, but and it's both probably. So yeah, it's um, in our system, and in it's just yeah generated when an electron falls to a different energy level. Reactive oxygen species can be related to that because they're reactions and stuff. It's light. It's light
Okay,
in form, electromagnetic wave. Yeah.
okay, it's light that's generated. So it isn't light that is received. It's light that's generated when electrons change their position.
And it can be received, and then electrons also change their position, but they go to a higher level. Yeah. So it's
Okay, so
dropping,
light,
and so dropping to a lower level releases, getting energy goes to a higher level, and this higher level of energy or electrons that creates, yeah, all the movements in the body. I mean, there are chemical reactions and stuff like that. So the
so so uh are we as human bodies, I'm sorry, just to bring it back to the human body, are we as human bodies both receiving light and making light?
yes.
Okay. Wow. All right.
and
Um,
and
so
and we function a lot of our well, maybe everything well, if it's the actor or not, but in every process in our body there's light is playing a part, electromagnetic radiation. Yeah.
okay, that's the great question. So what is the light doing? What is its function?
Yeah. um
Sorry.
yeah. So what's his function? I think that's life. It's life. It's really, and it's what people are researching. It's present everywhere, and that's why I said, I mean, if it's really the actor or not, but if you think of light as electromagnetic radiation and resonance and stuff, and in relation to also the coherence of the body and the water, the whole field, then light is playing a role in the sense of electromagnetic radiation everywhere. And now with the biphotons, that's visible in 200 to 400 UV nanometer for UV range or other areas. But electromagnetic radiation is, of course, much broader. So, I mean, I try to extend it over the whole range, but biophotons are part of that electromagnetic resonance and radiation. And yeah, it's
Are
working.
biophotons are biophotons different from photons? Are they
No,
something else,
well,
or all?
we wouldn't call it biophotons actually in the scientific papers. We would say ultra weak photon emission, and that's a photon is a photon. It's just that people would start talking about biophotons because they observed it coming from biological systems, I guess.
Okay, that's good. That's good
And
parsing.
it's
Thank you.
really difficult to see. I mean, would you see it? Yeah, we had a camera, and I was sitting in a dark room for 30 minutes, and then I would have like a pixelated image of my hands because the delayed luminescence or the spontaneous emission of my hands would take so much time to actually have a open shutter of a camera. So it's not something you see, but it is measurable.
Okay, I have two follow-up thoughts, questions. One is, um, are are photons part of an electromagnetic uh, field, or are electromagnetic fields part of photons? In other words, what I'm trying to understand is, are they generated only by electromagnetic fields, or could photons be generated by more than electromagnetic fields? Is that an intelligent question?
It's yeah, it's maybe mixing of a photon is an electromagnetic wave. I mean, that's just the definition, and a photon can be um, generated in our body in any chemical reaction. But the chemical reactions, in the end, if you really go down and down, are all moved through a lot of well, in the view of quantum electrodynamics, through resonance and electromagnetic fields and giving and taking energy, and on the level that we can see, that's when chemical reactions takes place, and a photon is part of, yeah, the intake and export of energy, yeah, uptake. And so it's showing, it's showing what's happening. It can show what is happening in photon.
So we have to use special equipment, but we can actually trace what's happening. I'm asking a bigger question, Everin,
Yeah.
are there so we're deep in the frequency resonance electromagnetic conversation, which is happening all over the scientific community. We didn't know about, we weren't looking at it as carefully as we are now with quantum work. Is is there more than electromagnetic fields? Like, is there stuff outside electro that we haven't gotten to yet? Do you think that, or is it? Do we just account for life being life because there's electromagnetic fields?
Ah, well, yeah, I mean, uh, I'm not, I wouldn't say I know everything, but based on what I've seen, there are different levels of that you can look at life. Of course, you can look at it on the chemical level. You can look at it, what is happening below, and you can look even lower. And I mean, sound effects as well, and that's not particularly a chemical electromagnetical wave, but in the end, in some way, they create the resonance and some forces on the system that, uh, well, the whole ecosystem of life, that has an effect. So no, I don't. I wouldn't want to reduce it. And actually, biophotons, they say they are only emitted in reactive oxygen species and mainly in mitochondria. But I was already extending it to that I mean, photons and electromagnetic waves could be in another, uh, yeah, in another field. So we need to have the picture complete. Yeah, it's not.
That's what I wanted
Yeah,
to get to.
yeah.
The fields we're now into we don't even we're on such pioneering, we're on such frontiers. I'm trying to myself handle the question, a is sound a different field than electromagnetics? Would you have any ideas, any thoughts on that?
Well, if I talk to Paolo Renati, for example, you can explain sound waves and how they can interact with these quantum electrodynamic and coherence domains. You can always um, yeah, translate it there, but it's not specifically an electromagnetic wave. But if we talk to Paolo, he can explain how it works in the interaction and the resonance.
Mhm.
Yeah, unfortunately, I hear and read a lot, and then sometimes I cannot explain it in the depth
I'm
myself.
so glad you're I'm so glad you're confused too. Not really, I want you to be very clear, but I get that when we're having these conversations and someone says something like resonance, I'm like, "Wait, wait, 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 wait. Are you talking about resonance from electromagnetic fields or resonance from sound or resonance from light? What the heck?" I think in this conversation, one of the valuable things that I think you're trying to help us capture, and maybe I'm running off like a horse with the bit in its mouth because now I got an idea and I'm gonna, but I think you're helping me understand that light is a reaction from these other fields, whether there's just one like electromagnetic or whether there's a sound react, that light is a production of these forces, no matter how many there are. Am I going in the right direction?
Yeah, partly. Yeah, it is a production, and the production of the one is a receiver of the other. So it's just yeah, it's just back and forth that creates the dynamics of life. Transferring energy to the other, you could see it as energy as well. So
So it's that transfer of energy, and now we're talking about these incredibly luscious invisible fields that run us that we don't even notice. At least today in our salon, we're taking a reverent moment to notice light and its power. And I think I would definitely would like to ask you to sort of complete the history and get us to who's doing research in this now. So we have uh, Gurevich, Vladimir Voikov's work. Now we have Fritz Albert Popp. Then it's picked up by uh, what's Eric's last name? Eric Lenz.
Laarakker, yeah, okay, he didn't. He sponsored the research. He ran the lab, but he's not doing it. But yeah, Roeland van Wijk, Eduard van Wijk, Yu Yan. There's a whole group studying this. There are many people around the world, Chinese people. There's a lot of science. If you look up ultra weak photon emission, I mean, you can't even
Ultra
name it.
weak, ultra weak
Ultra weak
photon,
photon emission. Yeah.
photon emission.
And
Okay, so
some of them go into electromagnetic biology research. There's a whole group in Poland that is very active, a young guy running it. But I mean, that's not to name anymore. It's just so it's been studied, well studied over a long time already. Yeah.
okay, I'm going to ask the essential question. What does photon have to do with water? Why are we at the water salon talking about light? I'm sorry, I know it's a hard question.
Well, I mean, water plays a major part in all of life, so it's fundamental, and you can think of light. Yeah, I mean, light. storage. Light is energy storage in water and giving of energy through the water. Water is like everywhere present, so it can be an intermediary in a lot of those reactions. And then there's all kinds of other ways that maybe even Albert St. Georgi said that it's like the body is all semiconductor for light, and water plays a big part in it. But yeah, how can we link it directly? It's I mean it's just they're related.
Very correct.
Partners. They're
Art,
necessary, both. Yeah,
right.
yeah,
I think if we remember, recast water as the most sensitive material for receiving all the light, all the different kinds of light, and translating that into energy work.
exactly.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
so light doesn't do much without water, I would be very ready to say.
Yeah, I can agree with it now you say that, because indeed water has so many energy levels it can take. In the
There.
Yeah, if you look at what I said, like different energy levels of the electrons, so different energies of light and frequencies, where water is able to host all those, and that's yeah, not many single molecules. They just have one resonance, and water is the one. Yeah.
And we would especially love to feature the work of a new researcher on photons, and that would be Paolo, right? Would you like to say a little bit about how you know him and what his work is?
Not specifically on photons, but quantum electrodynamics, but he understands a lot. Paulo is a young guy, well, young, maybe he's over 40 already, but he has been studying quantum electrodynamics for a long time, and he's gone really deep to understand it in the basis of health and life. And he can explain it on all the levels that I was trying to hint at. So you can look at the quantum electrodynamic level, you can look at the chemical level, the biological level, the systems level, and much higher at different scales. And if you can translate all those levels, then you can communicate to a lot of scientists how it works. And I think that he is one of the few people who can communicate the message of such a, well, people say complex theory, into how it works with water and light and everything. He knows to explain it, and it's yeah, amazing. And if you really take the time to listen to it, you feel you understand. Okay.
Right.
To
For
reach it
young
in
scientists,
advice, I can't yet, but yeah, yeah.
right. Yes, for young scientists who are looking for an entree into this field or to try to understand this work and open up their own work that they're doing, Paulo has a course on the water World Water Community. You can find it there, or just contact Everin. And we want to invite people into, we need young scientists who aren't even aware of that there's this amazing lineage looking at photons going back quite a while, even to St. Georgie, and that this is fundamental to understanding anything about biology and life and how it works. So, any concluding thoughts, Everin, or should I open it up and see what we should have a salon discussion? Let's have people chime in anything the thoughts they've had from hearing this, reactions, questions. We invite you to raise your hand and let's see what you got, what you've learned from this. Comments or thoughts? Yes, Candy, go ahead.
Hello, everybody. I first want to thank Gina and Everin for your work. I have to tell you that this is so delightful to me, having been challenged with exploring this field for the last 10 years and mostly only finding it in the areas of commerce. So, for instance, water vortexing machines and things like that. And
Right.
so, this is a much more interesting and important area for me, understanding water as the essence of life and how it's connecting us all and how we all engage with it. So, this is very helpful. And I would just say there's a lot of research as far as light, the infrared. Here we are into commerce again, but I happen to have really benefited from red light therapy, infrared light therapy, and so that I don't know, Everine, you might be able to clarify this, but that would affect the water photons in the body, or sorry, that would affect the water in the body. The light and the water interact to up level the state of your health in various ways. So that's just my little thought about what you just said.
Yeah,
but sorry.
Go ahead.
Well,
I just want to say, Everin, why don't you hold? We'll wait for her second question and do both at the same time. But the idea that let's talk about infrared light and whether that has, its role as a photon, basically. Is that it, Candace? What's your second question?
Oh, well, the other two things I wanted to say aren't related to this. So let's do this discussion first.
Okay, go ahead, Everin. What do you think about infrared as a photon?
Well, you can't think about it. Infrared is a photon, but I think the relationship, the question.
Just confirming that. We're just confirming that. Yes.
But and then still, I'm not an expert. So, but of course, what Candace.
She'll never say she's an expert. Don't just.
Is referring to. I mean, what we can think of is the research of Jerry Palacker and increasing the EZ zone with infrared light, which is like having a beneficial effect on health. But the real mechanism behind how it actually works, maybe we can still figure out further. But yeah, that's a real big showcase where infrared has an effect on water in the human body and on health.
Yeah, and we would definitely want to. Yeah, we want to point you to the work of Glenn Jeffries, Dr. Glenn Jeffries. We could put a link in this the show notes for this. Who's doing work in London on photobiomodulation and its impact on biology in the body. And of course, the minute we saw his work, we're like, oh my God, he would say, we know when the infrared comes in that we see a phase change in the body. And that phase change only takes 1 minute and 15 seconds before we can identify. But we don't know what makes the phase change. And we're all going like, it's water! It's water! You need to talk to Jerry Pollack. Why aren't you guys talking to each other? So we did try to actually get them on the phone this year. We're still in that. We're still in that hope, but we did point Glenn Jeffries to Gary's work. And then if you want someone also who's popularizing this work, including Glenn Jeffries and other researchers like Robert Fosbury, an astrophysicist who's going, you guys, it's the light and the water. You guys, we're like, it's so wonderful to get other disciplines coming in and going, hey, we think they might be related. Carrie Bennett is also looking a great deal at, she's a popularizer, a health and wellness expert, looking at the relationship between light and water. It's really beautiful work. And so you can go to her website, Carrie Bennett. We'll put these links in the show notes because you should know about this work. And all the infrared stuff, just fabulous. And yeah, it's, it impacts all the water.
Yeah, and I just want to share, Tyler is saying things I also am completely agreeing with. Of course, you talk in different levels to different people, but there is, it's all oscillatory fields of electromagnetic waves and the nodes that you see are the particles, but it's a cymatic pattern. If you want to see it, it's dynamic. So there's no photon, he says, they're only perceived. And I mean, that's a lot of things are perceived on a certain level, but it is the oscillatory pattern of the electromagnetic waves with the nodes coming up. So yeah, that and Walter Russell is a very important guy scientist to mention. He's written books and also The Secret of Light. Tyler, if you want to share too, you're welcome. Just sharing what
Yeah.
you're putting in the chat. And I agree. I mean, what level can you go in our talk here? But definitely, yeah.
Well, Candace, let's finish your questions, right?
Okay. Okay. So I've viewed the documentary called Water is Love. I don't know if
I
that's
don't
on
know
your
it.
site or not.
No, I
It's
don't know it.
wonderful. It's
Oh,
absolutely wonderful.
hey, let me write it down.
I viewed it. Yeah, it's easy to find. It's on YouTube. So Water is Love, the documentary. And I had such inspiration after having watched it in terms of steps to do locally in my community about water awareness. And then it has a lovely song at the end. And I happen to be an enthusiastic singer. So I'm also going to learn the song about water and share that with people as well. But so that's one thing.
We helped produce that. The song, Sing for Water.
The song.
Yeah. That
So
came out.
lovely.
Yeah, it came out of one of the first things we did 10 years ago as the Hydration Foundation was create an opportunity for Jerry to have a TED Talk. And we invited an Algonquin grandmother to bless the scientists and the event, and Jerry and Stephanie Seneff was there as well. And the Algonquin grandmother came back later and said, hey, I want to do this project. We want to release a song into the world, but we don't quite know how to do it. So we worked together on that project. And again, this comes back to these salons are helping us keep lineages alive. They're getting maps in our head about, and why would we want the map? We just want the information. We don't want the people, right? No, we want the map because we care about each other. Real work got done. Real work. People spent their time, getting up in the morning and going to their labs or going to events or meeting each other. And again, the purpose of a room like this is to find each other, to meet each other. So yes. So I'm talking too much. So finish your thought, Candace,
Okay.
and then we can go to Tyler.
So I would definitely recommend people viewing that documentary and perhaps some inspiration of what you can do locally. We're going to have a viewing of it at my church, and I'm going to be part of these walks around the community, educating on water features. We have to start where people are at.
Brilliant.
So if we talk in esoteric terms about the lovely stuff that excites me, people kind of glaze over. And so we have to just, water has been taken so for granted. So this is the justice aspect of it. We give water its due and we recognize its value and importance to all of life. Stop taking it so for granted, and bring some consciousness to that. So the other thing is I wanted to talk about World Water Day, and I'm really interested in hearing if anybody is undertaking any initiatives for that. It's in March, so it's just around the corner. I see a hand up.
Charlotte, did you raise your hand? Can you unmute? Yes, we can hear you now.
This is something we do every year, the 22nd of March in the Netherlands, in the little town of Dalfsen. We always celebrate the water in great gratitude. We have a stone circle, a set of stone circles actually. 52 stones are the marking of the outside of the circle. It's 180 meters in diameter, so it's quite large.
Right.
And that is a Mother Earth monument, a gratitude place for Mother Earth, for nature. And of course, 22nd of March is always our joy to sing to the water and celebrate the water. And it's actually in the bed of the river Vecht.
Oh.
So we can also always give the water that we have given thanks to the Vecht. And then certain people, like Frank Sylvius in our country, are able to measure the Bovis value of the river. And it actually also 2 kilometers down is it's measurable, it's palpable that the Vecht has received thanks, this river. So yes, the water listens to us, and we are listening to the water inside of us and all around. Now, Candice, your microphone needs to be unmuted again.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Charlotte. That's delightful. Is anybody else involved in World Water Day, or?
Well, it'll be posted on Everin's World Water Community. The purpose of what the work of Everin is to share what events are happening around the world, or what projects, or what science is being found. It's a mighty effort, and we will love any support for Everin and her work to make sure that there's space, for everybody to find out what's going on. Because how do you find out? But Candice, I'm really especially grateful that you're operating on what I think is so intelligent, is to take local action. Just find something to do in your own. Love your neighbors is another way to say it. Right, through water. We're getting close to our closing time, and normally we have a little practice that we do at the end. I'm having a feeling that we should maybe forsake that, and because I have an energy that there's some other people who want to say something, Tyler especially. Let's just use the last bit of our time, and then I can close us with our quote and our blessing again. So, Tyler, are you still with us, or have you oscillated on?
No, I'm here.
Hi.
Hi. So I'm reminded what Veda was saying last year based on her early interviews with some of the autistic children that Diane Powell had been working with.
Yeah.
She kind of just dangled them as tantalizing teasers for her upcoming work. But one thing she was asking these nonverbal psychic autist children is, what other phases of water are there? And one of the children responded, well, it starts as 2 wavelengths of light that come together. And that reminded me of the work of Walter Russell as published in the Universal One, and a smaller book called The Secret of Light, speaking about how we come from God. It's all this one light. Our mind can create electromagnetic disturbances that we can create electric fields, which are electromagnetic, magnetoelectric. They're inextricable. And that then this forms all of the matters, which is right in line with what the information Veda was getting, how the light comes together to form matter, that matter is condensed light. And I know there's more refined pieces of the puzzle of understanding that, but I think that we're all light, we're all magnetism. This is all that. So water is that too. And she says God is in the water, and that may have a special role there, or maybe it's just the quality of water and its liquid form that it's able to express in different ways, things that are more tangible and visible than a gaseous form, and more mutable and expressible than a solid form. I don't know, but it sure is special, and I think that is a wonderful thing to think on, and you can bring in the infoceuticals of Luc Montagnier and other people doing that work of seeing how light can carry information from one substance, and the water can express the qualities of those substances without the substance, via the light carrying that vibration into the water. And these are things I love to daydream about. That's all.
Thanks for dreaming with us. I just love it, Tyler. And I do believe we are on a track to something so much bigger, right? So much bigger. I see Annette is here. Annette, are you able to give us are you here?
I just
I'd
texted and
love
I said, we're here.
we're here. Well, Annette may be able to give us just a
Can
little
you hear
update.
me?
Yes, Annette.
Can you hear me,
Oh,
guys?
thank you
Yes.
for
Gina,
joining us.
hi. Tyler, Everine,
Yes, an
everybody.
exquisite woman who's been here holding Jerry's hand through his health.
Oh my gosh, that has
Thank
been
you.
my honor for
Yes,
sure. Yeah.
we're all
So
sending you all our magnetic electric love and energy, putting it,
I
passing it.
am so bummed that I missed most of the conversation. And Tyler, who I met a few years ago at the Tesla Technology Conference, of all places, uh, reached out to me to let me know that this was going on. And I kind of missed it, but it sounds like
That's
you
okay.
guys talked about photonic light and how it affects water and uh, all that, which I have one question about, but I'll update you on Jerry first.
Okay,
You know,
great.
it's nothing short of miraculous from where he's been. Sorry, I'm walking my dogs right now to where he's at now. I mean, honestly, I didn't think he would make it out of the hospital. You know, you have all this synthetic stuff around you and, you know, uh, nurses with limited time. And, you know, Ethan and Seth have been just amazing. Those are his two sons. And finally, they were able to get him home. And he's sitting in this room that he loves, where he does most of his work, overlooking, and Gina knows this well, overlooking Lake Washington. So he has this beautiful view all day long and nurses 24/7. He lost mobility in his right side just from micro strokes happening after it's kind of like a earthquake, you know. You have the shock waves after.
Ironically, he just
So
finished his book on, right? We have a new
what's
book from
that?
Jerry. We have a new book from Jerry called Charged, and
Yes,
earthquakes as part of the electromagnetic
that's
field.
right.
Not to attention to, so
Exactly. Yeah.
I didn't
I keep
interrupt.
asking Ethan, how's the book doing? And he says, you know, it really needs Jerry to get on the airways for
That's all right. We're going to help
that.
promote it too. Yeah.
Exactly. So anybody that can, but yeah, so I was just there a couple days ago and he's doing better. He smiled. He's got that light back in his eyes where there's an awareness there and joy. You know, he doesn't remember the hospital, which is probably good. And yeah, so we're hopeful that maybe, I don't know, in a few months he can maybe start trying to use the keyboard. So wouldn't that be nice?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, you know, as far as my question, and even though I missed what you guys were talking about, you know, we all know that the body is not a container, that it needs to flow. Otherwise, it's a swamp, but we want it to be a river. So everything needs to come into the body, but it has to have a way to escape. And we know that things in nature, because we evolved with that, naturally have that ability. So my question is, and I heard Everine talking about red light and, all the different light, when you think about the sun, it doesn't just have one red light. It has a whole, what am I trying to say?
Like a spectrum.
A spectrum, thank you. A whole spectrum of light. And so I'm sure all of them have some effect on us and help things move through us in the way that they're supposed to. So when we start using light, let's say that is not natural and it doesn't have all those spectrums, how in your opinion does that escape the body, or how does that affect, how do we somehow absorb that into our system and compared to what we would call nature, right? Any thoughts on that?
Everin, do you want to say anything?
And the fact that there's a ton of unnatural light out there, like on our phones or LED lights or screen light or whatever. We have a ton of unnatural. People sit in those EE systems, which I think are dangerous. They might have short-term help, but then again, does it escape the body, and what does it do long term? So, okay. So anyways, that's my thought.
Well, I'm definitely not an expert on this, but there's a lot of research and studies and effects on health related to all that. And I think if there's no resonance, Paulo also says the body doesn't pick it up, but you definitely miss things. And if you get a lot in one part of the spectrum, I mean, there's a lot of research nowadays about the blue screens and other stuff. And so that's clear. But you are, I think, asking about how the body reacts to that, a little bit more of the science. I guess we could dive into that a little bit further, but there is I would say if it has a resonance in some part of the body, it will do something bad or not, and if it's missing part of the spectrum, it will not be able to function well in the other part. So getting it out, if there is resonance, that's what I mean. If the body can pick up that energy, if it will raise its energy, then it has to be good. And if it's getting too much energy and falling back in a different frequency, then it can do harm. That's how it works according to my understanding of how the body picks up light, energy, of electromagnetic radiation. If it doesn't pick it up, then no harm done. Because if it doesn't resonate, it doesn't pick it up. So sometimes a big thing will not affect the body as much as a little thing, because it's just not part of the spectrum of what the water or the body can pick up or resonate with. But definitely,
Everin,
healthy light. I mean, it needs to be full spectrum. I mean, that's clear.
Yes.
I mean, you mentioned Carrie Bennett and other people. I mean, there's a lot.
I think that this is a great place to put in this idea that we are the tuning fork. And if we're clutched about other resonances coming in, if we're in this protective, oh my God, I'm going to be harmed by all this stuff, we're creating our own tuning fork to pick up that fear. This is just me talking, right? And I think that
Absolutely.
if we keep, and people use this phrase like keep your vibes high, and I'm like, okay, let's talk about that. One of the things that can come out of this conversation today is, one, knowing that your exposure to light, including natural sunlight and infrared help, if you're going to hack it with lights, you buy lights, is um, it is your turn. You're tuning your tuning fork to resonances. This is our work as a body, right? This is the biology we were given. We were supposed to be outside getting sunlight. This is the evolution of our ability to be there. The other is sound. It's unbelievable how important music is. And I get myself out of clutch. I call it the clutch when I'm like I reading the news or whatever. I get myself, I literally go purchase some resonance, whether it's putting music on, and Ever knows because I'm constantly sending her music. Hey, I heard this. Hey, I got this one. And they change, you're seeking because it's a living stream. And those are exit points, if we can call it, for damage that can come into us. We can release it into the living flow. If we have a new comprehension of how incredible our bodies are and how they're far more than just the biology, they're the electromagnetic, they're the light beings, they're all of this, and that we can lead ourselves into this level of biological health and freedom. We're the protective point. Like, we don't need to go get this stuff. I mean, yes, of course, I'm getting music, but I'm just trying to say, back to our original quote, attention is the most precious and rare form of generosity. To have a more generous definition of what our bodies actually are, and gratitude for them as bodies of water and what they're capable of. And this the practice I was going to do today is, but I'll just hand it to you so you can go do it yourself, is to really allow ourselves to spend time with ourselves as a magical, extraordinary, miraculous entity, to really pay attention to it, to give attention and generosity to our own bodies and our own self. This is a really huge endeavor because the culture we live in doesn't love our bodies the way that biology does, or that God does, or however we're going to get to the place where even as we approach death. Now I'm getting older, so I'm thinking about these things. We relish in love. We can start by honoring water outside ourselves, but then honor the water inside of ourselves. So New Year's greetings.
Nobody
To
says it better than you, Gina.
Thank you.
That's
To all our
beautiful. Thank
bodies.
you.
Yeah, thank you,
To
Annette.
all
And
our
we ask
bodies.
you, we're going to give you let's raise our hands. We're giving you our hands. Everybody put your hands up.
Oh, thank
Annette,
you.
take the love that's coming out of our hands and go
Yes.
grab Jerry for us. Would you just, you know,
I
our
will. I will, you guys. Thank you.
rich
I
blessing.
kiss his forehead 100 times. He has the biggest smile on his face. And the nurse says, I've never seen him smile like that.
You
He
got to
feels
kiss.
the love. He feels it.
Thank you
Yeah.
all for coming. We love these salons. Our next one will be, it's the first Thursday in February, right? Everin, we do it the first Thursdays. Everin, I just want a special thanks to you for your amazing work and all the time you spend in the labs and looking through microscopes, talking to people, reading science papers. Bless you for all of that. May it bless your body, keep you happy, keep you alive. We love you all, and we'll see you in February.
Bless
Thanks for
you,
coming.
Gina, because you can communicate what's important. Like the science is just this part of the language, and you bring to something we can use it. So
Exactly.
Great.
thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Happy New
Thank you
Year,
very
everybody.
much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.